Alright everybody, welcome back. This is Strider's Art, and we're going to try and teach you a little bit about digital design. Alright, in this one I'm pretty much just going to go over the programs, which ones you might want to try if you don't have any, and which ones I prefer to use. Why not? I wouldn't suggest each one. Painters, it's hard for me not to suggest. It's really good. It's probably my favorite one. It's not that expensive. It's only like $250 to upgrade from 10 or 11, which I would strongly recommend. And I think it's like $450 to buy straight out. I definitely would not recommend getting 10 or 11. They're great programs. They have just as many brushes and stuff, and like it responds the same. But one thing that they had was anti-aliasing problems. Like if you see when I move her, that's what it used to look like. And whenever I drop her, like see how it fuzzes it out, and you might not be able to notice it too much, but when I go to like one of the other ones that, and anybody who uses Painter 11 knows what I'm talking about, like this here at like 66.7, it looks like crap. Like it looks horrible. When I drop it though, it'll fuzz it out. So that's one thing they picked in 12, and that's the main reason why I switched over to Painter for a lot of my stuff, because they fixed a lot of the stuff that was wrong with it. I used to have to like do my sketches, inline work inside, then my painting in Corel, sorry, whichever you say. I have a habit of saying Corel, and I'll do it a lot. And then I'll edit like the colors and add effects or text or stuff like that in Photoshop. So I was having to use kind of all of them. But now Corel has kind of got enough capability where it's really easy to use. You can twist everything around. You can zoom. They have great shortcuts for changing the brush sizes, which side comes with a lot, and I'll talk about that when I get to that one. But it's just the main one that I use, and it's the main one that I suggest. It's got tons of brushes. This is just the blenders alone, just the blenders. So like when you go to the pencils, it's got all these brushes for the pencils. It's got all the brushes for the airbrush, painter brushes and stuff like that. It's just got everything, and they all look amazing. I mean, they respond just it's trying to just emulate whatever you're using. If you're using wet acrylic, Corel is just working its ass off to try and make it look like that, and that's what I like. Gives it a more artistic feel, and this is definitely my favorite program. But with a price of $450 or $250 if you're upgrading, it's a little much. So I kind of got to show you guys what I'm talking about, and now I'll go over to the other ones. I'll open the same picture that I used in the other one. This is also the picture I made in my first video, and it's kind of why I made the first video first rather than this one, because I want all the stuff I show you to be stuff that I'm teaching you, so you don't have as many questions. Size is just as good as Corel. It comes with the bare back like brushes and stuff, but you can download tons and tons of brushes. I'm sure if you've been on DeviantArt and seen some of the pros that say they're using Sai, their work looks every bit as good as anything in Corel or Photoshop, and this program is really good. It's just as smooth as Corel. You can see when I'm zooming, the anti-alias is bomb. When it gets down to the nitty-gritty, it starts to kind of look like Photoshop, and you'll see what I mean when I get to Photoshop. When you're in Corel and it gets down to the nitty-gritty, it still tries to smooth it, and I really appreciate this fact. Basically, the way that the people that made Corel describe it is they're trying to make it look like how it's going to print no matter what size you're at. And that's fantastic, because that's what I'm looking for. I don't want to work pixel by pixel. I want to really feel like I'm using a pencil. Some people might have a different opinion, but Sai is still very smooth for $50. Like, it's crazy. It's really, it's just about the same as Corel. You get the same effects, like the brushes have bristles. Let me get, see, the brushes have bristles and they respond to your stylus. The pen, you know, airbrush and stuff, it's got a lot of similar effects. See, I got the smoothing on, that's why it's going a little slower there, because that's another thing about Sai that I really like. This is like a 2000 pixel canvas right here, and Sai just it doesn't care. It's like, it doesn't really lag at all, because it's a bit more simple of a program, and that's why I think it's really good to learn on, because A, it's really user friendly. When you go up into these options, it's just what you want to know. Oh, how do I adjust my canvas size? Well, you go to canvas, and right there it says canvas size. You know what I mean? Like, it's the appropriate stuff is in the appropriate categories, and this one's really good for beginners, and it's cheap too. So this is really what I recommend for anybody who doesn't already love digital art. If you're not sure and you haven't already fallen in love with it like I have, this is pretty much where you want to start. It's great learning. It's similar to the other professional programs, and it's cheap, and it creates really good stuff. I'm sure you guys have seen on DeviantArt where there's just, I mean, people are really good with this, and it's a good one. So I recommend that for the cheapest option out of the three. Photoshop, for drawing in particular, this is what I'm going to say. I don't really recommend this program. I know tons of people draw with it, guys, but I don't think, like, you'll see what I mean. Like, alright, here's your brushes. Like, yeah, there's texture brushes to try and make it look like a paintbrush, and unless you have, like, one of the like, my tablet doesn't do bearing. You can see, like, it doesn't do tilt and bearing. It just kind of does pressure sensitivity and really responsive to where I'm going. So, I mean, if you have a really good tablet, these are a little bit better as well, but they're just, it's I don't know. For one, there's not a lot of options from the beginning. Like, some of these are silly. I'm not gonna be drawing with that. I'm sorry. Like, maybe to add effects and stuff, don't get me wrong, guys, I understand. And that's why I say Photoshop is really cool for editing, but I don't really like it for drawing. I mean, you can create the same effects. Like, if you want a pen tool, you grab the hard brush that varies in size, varies in widths and pressure and whatnot. You make it, you know, like smaller, like 6 or something like that, and you jack the opacity up so that it's like a freaking ink pen, and it'll do it. But I mean, I don't like that. I don't like having to create like every brush that I want to have. Like, I almost have to go make it myself. Like, hello, you charging me $800 for this thing? Like, it should do more than that, I feel. And I know you can edit all the brushes, and I know, like, for professionals, I don't want people knocking on me. Like, I know that it does a lot. This is another thing I want to say about Sai. Like, when you go into layers, it's just real simple. This is one of the turn-offs of Photoshop for new people. Look at that. I mean, the list is 3 times longer. Each one of the options pops out and has 7 other different options and stuff. You know, it's just, it's really, it's hard to work with. For professionals, and like if you really get into digital design and stuff, because you'll see when you go to save stuff, like even in Corel here, everything has Photoshop format. Photoshop's a very popular thing. Like, I'm not knocking the program at all. I just don't think it's what, if you're just trying to like sketch and then do line work and paint and stuff, this program is not like really what you need. If you get into this, you'll pick it up eventually and you'll start to use it, and it's a great tool to have around. It's down on my start bar for a reason. But like, for people that just feel like, oh, I want to be better with digital art, or I want to start getting into it, and everybody's saying go get Photoshop, like, I don't believe that. I mean, it does everything that it's got, other tools have got as well. Lasso tool, the clone brush, Corel has, I don't know if Sai has the stamp or not, but it might. But I mean, it's got all the stuff, lasso tool, and it's just like, for me, this is just like my icing on the cake. Like, I bring stuff in here to do the couple things that Photoshop does do well that the other programs just aren't really made for, because I feel this was made for like photographers and photo editing and stuff, really more so than like drawers or painters, even though I know a lot of people paint with this and stuff, and it looks really good, don't get me wrong. And that's just because all these programs are digital and they're all doing the same thing. It's just how they're accomplishing them, and like Corel just seems more natural. The brushes are random, like the strokes blend better and whatnot, and it's just, I mean, this is why I suggest this. So the basic rundown would be, if you're just getting into it looking for something cheap, pick up Sai. You can try the trial for free. It's $50 to buy. It's real cheap. Great program. Great program. If you want my personal recommendation, I use Corel Painter 12. You can upgrade from 10 or 11 for $250, I believe, and it's $229 for the full version if you don't have it, and for the anniversary edition like I have, I think it's $450. So that's what I suggest. Photoshop, guys, unless you're really a professional, and if you are a professional, I doubt that you're watching this, like, you're not, I don't recommend it. I don't think you're gonna need it, and if you pick it up, cool, like, it's gonna be cool to have around, and I will still tell you guys how to do what I do on it with it when I'm doing it and stuff, and I'll also try and tell you how to do it on the other ones, so you're not getting lost if you don't have it and you don't want to spend the $800. But I think you should just leave it out. So yeah, anyway, that's about it, guys. I'm gonna try and wrap this up, so that's it.